Hello, we are live, Yenni.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Hi, my name is Ching. I'm hosting on Wednesdays to always have a conversation with someone very special today. I am going to talk to Yenni Desroches. She is running for Massachusetts West. How do you say that? Westchester, right?
Worcester.
Worcester. Sorry,
Yep.
Worcester,
I confused
Massachusetts.
you because I'm from Westchester.
No, Westchester, Worcester,
Yep.
City Council. Yeah. So I wanted to. Today's episode is the number 98. I've been interviewing people since the pandemic started, and since actually last March 27. I still remember the first episode. So I would like to read a little bit of Yenni's very sweet biography. Yenni Desroches is running for Worcester, Massachusetts City Council District 5. Yenni grew up in Armonk, New York, and attended Champlain College in Burlington, Vermont. She graduated with a degree in video game development in 2012 and moved to work in Western Massachusetts. Owner of a professional pet care business, she has grown to call Worcester home and has watched growth and changes the city has undergoing so far with hope for its future. And you can read the rest of the biography in the description in this YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining me, Yenni.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about where is the situation right now in terms of the city council candidate? Because you've been campaigning for a little while, right?
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
so
I
give us a
launched my
little.
campaign in November.
Mhm.
And right now, I launched and I thought I was going to be running against an incumbent. He decided to run at large. So it's an open seat, which means a lot of people have entered the fray. And I currently have 4 opponents. So there will be a preliminary election in September. Since it's a nonpartisan seat, there's no primaries, it's called preliminaries. And the people who get the top 2 spots in the preliminary election will go on to the general, where it'll be best of the two, whoever beats each other.
Yeah. So in terms of educate us, in terms of running, is it typical for you to have like a, what do you call, 4 people to run, or like what is the typical number that you have to run against?
Yeah, so the last time there was an open seat for this district, it had 4 people that ran for it. And the breakdown was very heavily in favor of the person who got the seat, even when it was in the preliminary election. I think that we're going to be a lot closer this preliminary, because we've got me and Attell, who are both more on the progressive side of things, and we've got Steve, Wayne, and there was someone else who just entered the race, and Gregory, and they're more on the conservative side of things. Gregory is a retired police officer. Wayne Griffin is a police union Facebook page member. Steve Quist is definitely more on the conservative side. Attell is on the more progressive side of things. She is with women out, mothers out front, helping engage the community and rebuild from the pandemic. And the others are more like conservative.
Yeah.
I find that I'm in a very interesting spot because, similar to how Yang had the whole not left, not right, forward, I've got some Trump supporters that are supporting me as a candidate. There's no reason to vilify somebody who liked somebody else. City council is so nonpartisan. We deal with the roads getting fixed, the projects that come into town. The city council got to decide on whether or not we were going to have the Red Sox AAA team, the Paw Sox. They moved from Rhode Island to Worcester, and we built them a new stadium. So the city council was part of that decision making and fundraising and funding, not fundraising, the construction of the stadium. So what city councils do is they set things that are more everyday life. It's not the big giant policies. I'm not making decisions on things like abortion or human rights or international travel or anything. So it's less about what the politics are and more about who you think is going to be effective in moving a city forward. I want to see there be better technology use. I want to get us prepared for all of the automation that's coming. I was drawn to Yang because I've been talking about UBI and automation for 10 years. And our city is having a renaissance, but it's stepping on people in the process, and the city seems to be paying more attention to out of state and out of town developers than people who have lived here, grown up here for generations. So there needs to be a little bit of a shift in our priorities and figuring out what we need to do to become a modern city of the future, which we're currently in limbo land. Like, the city hasn't really changed much in the past 10 years, aside from the reconstruction of a lot of the old buildings and things like that. So we're seeing a bit of a renaissance. We're seeing more development happen, but it's almost all from out of area developers.
So what are the if you would name like the most important problems needs to be solved in the city, what are those?
So the three most important would be infrastructure, which includes transportation, accessibility, and data and technology use. So from a infrastructure standpoint, we don't have proper sidewalks. Our roads are in horrible condition because our utilities will come in, tear up the road, and do a horrible patch job, and then the city will come in and do a horrible patch job, and it self-perpetuates, and our roads are constantly deteriorating because of the fact that we've got so many patches. Our plows can't do the proper amount of plowing, and they can't get down to blacktop. It all kind of feeds back into each other there. And then sidewalks, we don't have enough of them. The ones that we do have, you can't ride a wheelchair down because they're roller coasters. You can't navigate them. So we need to do a lot of fixes there. And that also ties into making the city just be one of our city councilors called it a 15-minute city. You can get to everything you need to get to within 15 minutes. Right now, to do that in Worcester, you have to have a car. We have zero fare because of the pandemic on the bus lines, but we need to continue that in general. And we also need to change up how we run the buses. We need more routes, not less routes. We need routes that are better timing and get people to where they need to go and where they want to go. The YMCA, which is where the pool is for students that are learning how to swim, is not on a bus line. One of our colleges is not on a bus line. It's just strange the way the buses are currently organized, and they haven't been really taken a better look at for years. So we need a renovation of that.
What kind of city is this? Like, is this like a really old one, or is it like, tell us a little bit about the, sort of a structure or how old the city is?
Yeah. So Worcester became a city before the Revolutionary War. So we have massively old street designs. Some of it's still cobblestone. We have buildings that are almost all 1900-ish. So we're having a lot of house fires from using things that we call parlor heaters, which are basically just a box heater in the living room. Some places are still using the stove heaters to heat the entire apartment, so we're having a lot of fires from that. But the predominant architecture here is what we call three-deckers. They're three families stacked on top, like apartment, that all have decks, or originally they had decks. Most of those decks have been removed because they were like falling off of buildings, but it's we've got a lot of old housing stock that needs fixing, and I have a building that was 1915. We just replaced all the electrical, going from knob and tube to modern wiring. So it's a very old city, and we're very stuck in our ways. There's a lot of people who live here that will never see us as a good city, because they grew up here with it being horrible for decades. There's a pond locally that when I first moved here, I was told, don't swim in this. You'll come out with an extra arm because it's toxic. And I'm just like, but we've got like a swimming beach there now. Like it's been all cleaned up, but everyone still thinks of it as the toxic pond.
Yeah.
So the other priority, the three priorities, the infrastructure side of things, the accessibility, our streets, as I mentioned with the sidewalks, they're roller coasters. Can't navigate things. You can't get on the buses because the sidewalks aren't the right height for the ramps to come off of the buses for you to get on the bus. Our paratransit system is next to nothing. There's no on-demand paratransit right now. So if someone has to go to the grocery store, they've got to schedule it a week ahead, get on a van, and maybe have their food spoil by the time they get home because it's all group busing. So we need to do better by our disabled community. And one of the major things that I like to point out is our city website. It looks nice, but it is a nightmare to navigate. And if you have vision impairment problems, especially if you use a screen reader, it is nearly impossible to navigate. It is not structured in a way that it actually complies with WCAG 2.1 standards, which is what makes a website in compliance with ADA standards, which means that it's able to be read by people with color differences. If you have color blindness, there's enough contrast. If you only see grayscale, things like that. The city council agendas link their attachments to a program called Laserfiche, which if you've seen old movies where people sit down in the library and they're like looking through old newspaper records on the computer with like the slides, that was microfiche, and Laserfiche is just the digital version of it. It's basically photographs of the documents, which make them completely not readable by screen readers. So people who want to get involved in the city council meetings, if they use a screen reader to be able to understand what's on a screen, they can't read the attachments to the agenda. So there's a number of things there that need to be changed. We have issues with how we do our school system with the special needs students. There needs to be major improvements there. We ship too many of them out of district. And then on the data and technology side of things, the city is starting to make progress on that. We have an open data portal that I only found out about because I was trying to find every single page on the city's website to see where everything was while I was analyzing it. And buried 4 pages deep in the city managers section of the website, I found opendata.worcesterma.gov, which has all sorts of studies and surveys and data on the city that they've done, police records, fire records, everything. So that was really cool to find, but no one knows it exists. Even some of the reporters I spoke to didn't know that it existed. I educated them about it. And I think the city wants to do better by technology, but they just don't get it. They were talking about cell signal at the top end of my district near the border with Holden. And they were talking about cell signal, but they were calling it Wi-Fi. And that, while it's not a huge issue, like, we understood what they were talking about, the disconnect that's there with understanding technology makes it very difficult to implement changes that are technological in nature. So I want to bring that knowledge of technology to the city council.
Yeah, very, very, very good. Very well said. Now, tell us a little bit about. I always like to ask my guests their childhood, their upbringing, and Jack is here. Jack Chen, remember you worked at New Hampshire office, and Jack Chen was a New Hampshire resident and who hosted lots of young gun. Hi, Jack.
Yeah, I think we might have ended up meeting, but I don't quite remember. There was a lot of people in and out of the office.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I met you in New Hampshire, actually, right? It was like I think it was like a January or February. Yeah,
it was right before he dropped out. I went up there the Thursday before the election. So I was there for the Shaheen dinner. I was there for the debate. And then we had the weekend of canvassing and bringing people into town. And then
you worked in office, right?
I was in the Manchester office.
And then
I remember election night, I was there for him dropping out. And that was an emotional evening.
Did we all eventually go to a Mexican place?
Yeah, we all went to I think it was Margaritas.
Yeah, something like that.
And that's actually where Humanity First movement was born. We all got together and we were basically like, we can't let this end. This needs to be a movement.
Yes.
So that's where we basically founded Humanity First movement. It didn't get that name until like April, but
yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So I was asking you about your childhood, like, so tell us a little bit about your childhood, please.
So I grew up in Armonk, New York. It is a well-to-do area of Westchester County. I was about 45 minutes north of New York City. My parents got divorced in 2001? 2000? Yeah. And my father worked downtown. My uncle worked downtown. My father hadn't moved out yet by the time 9/11 happened, but there was the divorce was either before or after 9/11. I don't remember. So
when you say downtown, meaning downtown New York City?
Yeah. So my father worked at St. Luke's Roosevelt, and he was the head of the SICU there. And then my uncle works on Wall Street. He works for Fidelity. So when 9/11 happened, we had panic land because we didn't hear from either of them until like 6 p.m. that night. We didn't hear from my uncle. That was, my town lost 32 people. We only had about 1,000 people in my high school from all grades. So losing 32 parents and family members was hard on us. I was in 8th grade when that happened. So the divorce was in 9th grade. So it was the year later. My father moved to Yonkers. So I spent some time in Yonkers. That was a lot of fun. Yonkers is an interesting town. Yonkers really reminds me a lot of Worcester.
Oh, yeah?
Because Worcester has the similar, like, there's the downtown area, there's the not so great area, and then there's the part of Yonkers that you don't really realize is part of Yonkers because it's like the more like suburby area that's got all the cul-de-sacs and the larger homes and everything. And that Worcester has a similar setup, and it's also a similar like east-west side of the city.
Yeah.
um,
I was just there in Yonkers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yonkers is going through a big renaissance too. They've got a lot of stuff going on downtown. That it's nice to see that happening.
Yeah. So your childhood, and let's go back to the childhood. Like,
Yeah.
are you are you always very mindful and sort of a leadership role in when you were younger?
No, I was not. I was very much a follower
Oh yeah.
that got like kind of put in positions that
Uh-huh.
had some leadership.
Yeah.
I was the head of my Gay Straight Alliance, and I became stage manager for a theater group. In senior year, I was stage manager. Before that, I was props manager and stuff like that. So theater-wise, I had some leadership roles, and I was also part of the game club where we played video games in the cafeteria after school ended. So I was very much the geek.
Yeah.
But I never really had a want to be in leadership. I was very much I want to help. That's changed over time. I in college and after college especially, I've taken on more and more leadership type roles, which has been nice. But I was very much the outcast growing up, so I didn't have much opportunity to be a leader. From about second grade through fifth grade, I had next to no friends in school. And then I started making some more friends once middle school hit. And I was always the outcast. Sometimes I would eat lunch in the nurse's office in high school because she had like, Miss Sterling was amazing. She had so many amazing stories because her husband fought in World War II, and I'm a huge history buff.
I
Huge.
see. I see.
So like she and I would just chat the entire lunch period, and some of my friends would come in and sit with us, and we just had a whole grand old time in there. But I hated sitting in the cafeteria because I'd always get picked on.
Oh yeah. That's funny. So now forward that I see you went to college and you majored in video game what do you call it? Video game development?
Yep, development. Yeah.
So what does that mean? You design video gaming?
Yeah, so Champlain has a multi-major program. So there's people who are in there for game design, game art, and game programming. And then when I graduated, they also had game audio and game production, which is being the project manager or producer for a game. I prototyped the project manager degree, but I graduated with game design. But I went into school with game art. So it took me 6 years to graduate because I changed majors in my third year, which if my father's watching, he's groaning right now from the amount of money that cost. But it was not a cheap school.
I see. I see. So it's a private school, right?
Yeah. A small private school in Burlington, Vermont.
Yeah.
Love it. Literally, we were like a couple blocks from downtown, so we'd walk downtown. We had game nights. We had nights where we would just be in the game lab all night long working on projects, and then the sun would come up and we'd go downtown to have breakfast.
Hey, isn't that Burlington, Vermont has a really great cheesecake factory?
Yeah, so there's a lot of like really awesome stuff. We had a really awesome creperie. We had Ben and Jerry's nearby. We had Vermont Lake Champlain chocolates. Shelburne Farms and Cabot both make a lot of cheese products that are amazing.
Yeah. Do you know how I know it? Because I used to drive my son to his summer festival, which is in Weston. It's in Weston. So I have to drive by myself, right, for like 4 hours or something. And then when I return from there, when I drop him off and I come back, I think I remember I passed by the cheesecake factory, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's a really lovely, lovely place. But anyway, so are you using your college degree at all? Skill?
I was in the video game industry for 3 years. That's when I moved to Massachusetts to work at a studio out in Hatfield, which is just outside of Amherst in Western Mass. And I was at that job for 10 months. That was my longest job in the game industry. The game industry is notorious for a lot of churn and losing jobs and getting new jobs and losing jobs and getting new jobs. And I didn't want to move out of Massachusetts because my husband has a solid job that he's been at since he graduated college almost. He's been there for over 10 years now. And we met at college. And so I moved here to be with him because the game industry is very volatile. You never know when you're going to have a job, when you're not going to have a job. And to really stay in the game industry, you have to be willing to move for the jobs. And I was not. So I worked at a studio out in the Boston area at one point. I did a digital studio over the course of 3 or so years where I was in the game industry. I had 13 months of employment. So between that and the fact that I was dealing with Gamergate, I don't know if anyone here has heard of Gamergate, but it was basically a situation that happened in 2013 where the internet decided that women don't belong in video games. And there was all sorts of doxing and swatting. Doxing is putting people's private information publicly online. So my social security number is out there in the dark web. I have constant issues with my accounts and everything. It's better now, but it was pretty bad at the time. It was 2014, not 2013. And swatting is when they call and report something to the police department that will have them do a no-knock SWAT team entrance of a building. One woman's child was killed because as they entered the building, it was late at night, the kid was sleeping in a crib near the front door. They lobbed in a smoke grenade and it landed in the crib and the baby died.
Oh, God.
So it was not just a rage on the internet. It was very much it hit real life and it hit people. And there were people that almost went into WIT protection level security. One of whom was actually a state representative candidate this year and in previous years, Brianna Wu. She's out in the Boston area, just south of. So she and I actually both worked together on the Boston Festival of Indie Games, which is a conference convention that happens on the MIT campus in Septembers. And they do a whole bunch of other things now. The first 4 years of it, I was involved, and by the 4th year, I was secretary of the board. I went up those ranks very quickly. And that's kind of what seems to happen with me in organizations in general. That happened to me with the anime festivals that I was involved with. Happens with a bunch of the game development festivals and events that I was involved with. So I really like putting pieces together and helping people make things happen. So one of the game development festivals, the GDC, Game Developers Conference in San Francisco every year. It's a 20 to 30,000 person event. There's 400 volunteers. And on the back of our shirts, we have, "Ask me, I can help." And that kind of became a little bit of a personal motto because I always want to be helpful. I always want to be able to find what somebody needs and help them get it, because
I have a question.
I like connecting like that.
Yeah, I have a question. Segue to that is, how did you become a Yangan?
So I found out about Yang through a random Facebook event in November 2018. I was browsing.
That's early.
Yeah. So I was browsing Facebook events because I checked every few weeks to see if there was something that I wanted to bring my business to. I had a Next Level Pet Care, which is a professional pet sitting business. And I would go to events and have booths and stuff at them. So I'd pay attention to the events on Facebook, and I spotted presidential candidate something. I was like, already? Really? So I went in and I looked him up, and I'm like, I checked out some stuff, and I'm like, UBI? Okay, cool. I got to listen. Automation? Yeah, I think I'm going to go up there and see him. So I dragged 2 friends up with me to New Hampshire. We drove 2 hours into the middle of nowhere.
Yenni, excuse me, dear. Excuse me. Why is your video right now is kind of green? Did you change the light at all?
No, my internet connection sometimes fluctuates a little bit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at yourself. Look at me. I'm kind of brown, right?
I am a little grainy right now.
The whole thing is
That's
green.
weird.
But anyway, okay. So so you said you're gonna check him out.
Yeah. So I went up there, met him. It was very early days.
Yes.
So the 2 friends that I brought with me actually ended up getting turned off to Yang because of how he responded to my question of what we should do about climate change.
Oh.
He did not have an answer very well prepared for that question, although he probably should have. He's new to politics, just like I am, so there's plenty of times where I'm just like, I don't know. But I'm not afraid to say I don't know.
Yeah.
He kind of plugged in geoengineering, but he didn't talk about it from this is what one of the things that we can do is geoengineering, such as XYZ. He just went into, we can push dirt up against the bottom of glaciers. And I'm just like, how is that going to solve global warming and climate change? It's a tiny piece of, but he didn't really say it very well. So it turned off my 2 friends to him. I eventually won them back over. I won them both back over, so that was good. But yeah, from November 2018 to April, I followed him online. I did a bunch of stuff, and I started seeing the term Yang Gang popping up over the winter. When I first got into Yang, there was no Yang Gang.
Yeah.
And I really did not like the term.
No?
The whole having gang in it just,
I see.
It bugged me to no end. So I didn't really feel like getting involved with it because of gang being part of the Yang Gang.
Yeah.
But then we had the Boston rally that Christine Donahue ran. They had 1,000 people show up to it, and I'm like, cool, they're organizing. They don't need my help. So it took until summer for me to get involved with the campaign directly, and I joined my local Yang Gang chapter. Became the YGPC, so Yang Gang Point of Contact.
Yeah.
Oh, Tara, quiet. Quiet.
Tara.
Quiet.
He wants to join too.
She always wants to join. So I became the YGPC. Then I had a surgery happen at the end of September in 2019, where quiet. Hey, stop with the low growl. She's going.
How old is she? How old is she?
She's 6.
Oh, okay.
She's a German Shepherd short-haired pointer mix. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. Terrified of everything.
Oh yeah,
everything.
So if I come to your door, would she bark?
She'll bark and then she'll run away and nearly pee herself. We know when someone's on the porch or at the door or walking past the house,
That's
or there's a
funny.
squirrel in the tree, or someone closed their car door 2 blocks away. But if
Yeah.
someone were to actually come in the home, she
Yeah.
would bolt into the other room. She's not a guard dog. She's an alert dog. She's a great
Yeah.
alert dog.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, that's funny.
um,
So we were saying
so
what?
with the Yang Gang stuff, I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
surgery at the end of September, which
Yeah.
I can get into the surgery stuff after this,
Mm.
but the post surgery,
Yeah.
I was on my couch doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I talked to Catherine and Christina, who were the YGROs for New England, the Yang
Yeah.
Gang regional organizers,
Yeah.
and told them to put me to work. And they did. And the rest is kind of history. I was
Right.
doing like 60, 70-hour weeks volunteering for the campaign.
Yeah. Oh, Christina is the Christina who is the
Christine Donahue.
Christine Donahue. Oh, there's another Christine. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple.
I'm thinking, yeah. All right. Yeah. So now back to your current situation now. So what work left for you to do from now to primary, which is September, which you have a lot of time actually, right? What are the crucial things for you to do to win the race?
Yeah. So first thing I have to do is make sure my name's on the ballot. So I'm doing signature gathering. I have to get 100 signatures to get on the ballot. So obviously I'm collecting more than 100 to make sure it verifies okay. And I'm not doing super great on the collection point right now because COVID is getting in the way of being able to go out and about. Got a lot of health problems, so I'm very cautious. I'm having people like pledge to sign, and then I schedule a time to go to their house, which is cool. It works. It's nice. It's convenient for them and all that, but it's not generating a lot of signatures. Once I get my vaccine on the 20th, the second shot, I'll feel more comfortable going out and about. And then after I get my signatures done, it's a lot of interviews and just interfacing with people to get my name out there. People, the turnout for our municipal elections, citywide is very low. If I'm remembering correctly, it was like 8% citywide of the registered voters that turned out. My district had the highest percentage of any district with 23%. With 13,000 registered voters in my district, only 23% of them voted in 2019. And that is problematic. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing is not only reaching out to people who voted in the recent past for municipal elections, but trying to get people to register or get people to realize how important city council is so that they pay attention, because the city council sets our property tax rates, which changes how rent prices go up. And that's like one of the big things that really impacts people's lives is they're like, there's too much taxes, there's yada, yada, yada with taxes, and don't realize that it's the city level that sets that. A lot of people think it's the state level. So
let me interrupt.
Getting my name out there.
Yeah. Is this so? Is this one position, or are there like more than one city council, or just one city council?
Yeah. So there's 5 district seats and 5 at-large seats, and then we've got the mayor. So at-large covers the whole city, and district we've got. I'm on the west side. There's the north. There's the center. There's the middle east side and the southeast side. That's kind of how the divisions happened of the districts. I've been told that redistricting is not going to affect this election, but it could affect future elections. So the borders may change for the districts.
Now, you're always a kind of a entrepreneur, even ever since you're even high school. You have owned many businesses before. So tell us a little bit about what kind of business you have owned and you have operated.
So the first business I owned was a Android app development review platform. It was Cognito Interactive. It went nowhere. it was hi Tara.
Hi,
It was
Tara.
very it didn't get off the ground. But it was an amazing first business learning experience.
Mm.
And then Tara, stop licking the couch. The second business I had was Sutaneko Kimono. I have a extreme love of Japanese history and clothing, and so as also an aficionado of anime world, I would go to a lot of conventions, and most of the kimonos that were being sold didn't fit American bodies. We're taller, we're fatter, they don't fit. So
That's
I
true.
was making custom kimonos.
Yeah.
And I actually went to Japan. My father took me on a trip there, and I learned a dyeing technique called Yuzen dyeing, which is a color blocker that you paint in between the colors, and there's a whole process for it and special dyes. And they sent me home with some of those dyes, and I made kimonos with those dyes, and I bought more. So I was custom painting kimonos with a Japanese technique, and the business was doing okay. We had a decent amount of sales. Most of the sales, unfortunately, were hakama, which is the big pants that are full all the way around and have the big pleats. I hated making them.
Oh yeah. So
It was basically just I had to gather the fabric together and pleat
yeah.
it and sew it. But there's so much fabric layered on top of each other that sewing machines hated it.
Yeah. So you
But
physically make them.
yep. Yeah, I
Awesome.
constructed it all. I had a partner in my business with me,
Awesome.
Sabrina, and she
Yeah.
was my roommate. We had a
Yeah.
falling out,
Uh-oh.
and so the business kind of just stalled out and stopped at that point.
Yeah.
And then I had a pet care business in college where I would walk people's dogs, and I had 4 students that helped me run it. They were the ones that actually did the walks because I was a game dev major and had no time to do anything. I spent my days in the computer lab.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so that business I closed when I graduated. I actually gave it to the students that were still sticking around, but it went under within like a couple months. So essentially it closed when I graduated. Then after I kind of fell out with the game industry, I was at a very low point in life and very depressed. And I was living with my in-laws, and I didn't have a dog, and I really wanted more love in my life. So I decided, let me just start doing some dog walks. I went on Thumbtack and started getting hired to walk people's dogs. And I'm like, why don't I just go back into this business? And I spent 6 years as a professional pet care business owner. And unfortunately closed in March. Pandemic just
Killed it.
I was not going to be able to stay open.
Yeah. So now you have this mindset of being an entrepreneur and being a business person. I don't think everyone can be a business person, you know. So do you see the campaign right now you're running? Do you see like the things you have learned from your being entrepreneur and business owner? Do you see the benefit from your experience of that in your current work?
Oh, definitely. It's like running a marketing campaign. I'm using Social Bee, which is a social media automation tool that I used with my business. I'm using a contact database system that's very similar to the one that I used with my business. It's basically a alternative to HubSpot. It's called EngageBay. Social Bee is really awesome because it allows you to recycle your posts. So you have a library of content, and it'll post from it based on which ones have performed better in the past. It'll automatically, with AI, post ones that are getting more engagement, and it recycles the content for you. So if you say, like, I have a meet and greet hours every Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. I don't want to have to schedule posts 3 times a week to remind people of that and schedule each one individually. So I can put like 6 posts in a library folder, and it'll pick from it and post at the right times for me, instead of having to do each one individually, which is really handy.
What is it called? What is it called?
Social Bee.
Social Bee. Okay.
Like
Cool.
bee.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sure.
I find a lot of the like finance management and budgeting also ties into the campaign world. I was a very scrappy business owner and never had a lot of funds to spend on marketing. So I have experience doing events. Also, I had booths at events. Unfortunately, with COVID, that's not as easy to do with a campaign, but normally on campaigns, you'd be going to events. You'd have tables at Pride and at Pet Rock, which is the pet animal festival that we have here in town. I'd have a booth at Start on the Street, which is our street art festival that we have every year. Also, probably not happening this year. Thanks, COVID.
Yeah.
But it definitely all kind of ties together. Hey, Nick.
Nick is here. Great.
Yeah.
I was gonna to show your website to people. Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah.
Right now? Okay, cool. So let's see. Nick is here. Hi, Nick. Nick is my buddy, my canvassing buddy for Andrea. So this is your handsome website. Let's see. So the first front page, yellow background, building a thriving and modern city, leadership for a healthy and safe Worcester. Sorry, Worcester.
No worries. It's
I'm
Massachusetts.
I'm terrible.
You need to treat it like some kind of weird conglomeration of French and German.
It's like a certain
some
word
letters get sounded out like 3 times and others get completely ignored.
Yeah. So let's see. So this is a little intro about why you are going to work. Yeah. And then so the next page is so who took this picture?
That's the about section. So I've got like a 1-page website that also has a couple of extra things.
Yeah. So here is making Worcester work of all residents. Talk about transportation, infrastructure, accessibility. Yeah. And then
I'll have more policy statement related stuff on my website soon. Currently in the works of doing all the writing. It'll eventually get its own page as well.
Yeah. So people who are near Westchester, near Yenni, you can go volunteer for her.
Online too. I've got plenty of digital roles.
Oh yeah. And then you have tell us your podcast upcoming.
So the podcast I'm going to be doing on Saturdays just before my open meet and greet hours. Wow, I really need to get in there and update the events page. I need to put things on there. It's an interesting. It's a look at what the city's done that week, what's coming up the next week. I'm going to highlight local businesses and restaurants, and I'm just have a conversation with whoever I get to come on with me about what's going on with my campaign, and I'll have campaign volunteers on there with me so that I have someone to chat with, that I'm not just talking to the air.
In terms of, I'm sorry, I just right now I'm in the page of your fundraising. Like, are there any fundraising goals, or are there rules, like, stuff you want to tell us?
So fundraising wise, Massachusetts for municipal level has a maximum of $1,000 a year. So it's per calendar year that you can donate. And the fundraising goal that I have on screen here is $5,542. That is for me to be able to get out the mailers for the entire district to invite people to my listening tour. So you can go to donate.voteyenni.com. I have voteyenni.com as like an old link that I was going to use for the website, but I'm using it for short links. And that'll take you directly to this page to donate. I would love anything you can to help out with it. Fundraising for large campaigns, you donate $15 and they can't really tell you where that $15 went to. This, I can tell you, every dollar of this gets me another constituent that I can send a mailer to. So the money really stretches amazingly far for local candidates, and you can do a lot of help with $15 literally gets me 15 more people that get a piece of information about me in the mail. And when I only need 3,000 to 4,000 people to vote for me, that's a huge percentage of the reach that I need to make. So, and then Nitro 1000, I'm not sure who you are, but they make a good point. My dress is actually a symbol of Worcester. The heart is the heart of the Commonwealth. And that's in all of like Worcester's logos and seals and stuff, is the red heart. So I found a dress that had my colors, yellow as the dress and blue as the arrows and red with the heart. And I'm like, this is perfect. This dress is Worcester. It's amazing. So that became my campaign dress.
I forgot to ask you, like, who took your picture? You know, I used the picture of you wearing a blue dress. I really like that picture. You were this movement. You know, the dress was like open like that. So
So I had a local photographer. Her name's Jessica White. She took the photos for me. We did a shoot in November.
Okay, I should give her credit because I was using that picture.
Yeah. So I can give you a link to her stuff. Oh, hi, Ange.
Hi, Angie. I am Angelo. Hi, Angelo.
So the photography was fantastic. Like, she did a great job.
Did you do this one too?
Indoors.
Did Jessica do this
photo
one
of me
too?
spinning.
Yeah.
I actually I was just randomly like decided to spin, and she just took photos of me while I was spinning. It was great.
Yeah, that's
she's
awesome.
a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Did she do the yellow dress too?
Yep. Yeah, she took the photos of. She brought a changing booth with us, and we went to like 4 or 5 different locations.
Wow.
And took photos at each, and I would change in the changing booth and change my jewelry and my shoes and the dress. It was a whirlwind of a 3-4 hour photo shoot where we went all over the district.
Wow, that's cool.
And I took photos with a bunch of my like assistive devices. I have mobility issues, so we had like photos of me with my cane and photos of me with my sling because my shoulder dislocated recently.
Right.
So I also got some of the fact that I'm a disability candidate.
Yeah.
So we had some great photos on that shoot. A lot of fun.
That's good. Yeah. So that was a good photo. So so we're talking about people should if you can, support, and you can be supported by people outside Massachusetts too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And as long as you're a US citizen, you can donate to my campaign.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
and then in terms of volunteering, I have a whole slew of volunteering opportunities for people. If you go to my Facebook page or my Twitter account, the pinned post has the phone banking schedule for the week. You can phone bank from anywhere, as well as the different teams that I'm trying to get some more people to help out with. Data entry and research are really like super key right now. I need help with it. Need help turning my business card images into a spreadsheet so I can put people in my newsletter. And I need people to help me find contact information for businesses and media to be able to do the outreach that I need to do. So I would love it if anyone has some time to do some Googling.
So tell us a few important dates. Like,
So signature gathering, I have to have the signatures in by May 15th. And then the next deadline doesn't happen until August. It's the I don't remember the date. I have to look it up. But
Okay.
the registration deadline for voting in the primary comes in August, and then the primary is in September 14th. And then the registration deadline for the general election happens in October. And then the election is November 2nd. So that's the kind of timeline that's going on.
And like Andrew Yang, we're watching Andrew Yang in New York City as mayor race. There's a polling. So in your situation, do people poll?
No,
Okay.
it's all. Some people do internal polling. I don't find much benefit to that, especially at a city council level. New York is different because it's the 38th largest state. If you put it on a population, it would beat out 38 states in terms of how populous it is.
It's only 38?
Mm-hmm.
That's very far. 38?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Why is that?
Well, it's just New York City's huge.
No. You said the 38th biggest state. Is that what you mean?
Right. So if New York City, all 5 boroughs, was its own state, it would be the 38th largest state.
That's not very. I mean, we're 50 state in the United States. 38 is not a lot, very front.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about Massachusetts?
So Worcester's the second largest city in New England. We have a population of about 180 to 200,000 people. That doesn't even meet one of the boroughs. So we're a lot smaller than New York City. So we don't generally have like polling and stuff like that happen.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
It'll happen sometimes in Boston.
Yeah.
Races, and this year it's kind of seeming to happen with the mayoral race, but it doesn't really happen for city council.
Yeah. So now I want to thank people to join us in the audience. Anybody have any questions for Yenni? Please write it at the comment area. And then I wanted to also remind you guys, every Wednesday 4:00, I do this talk show. Today is episode 98, I believe. Last week we talked to Richard Ojeda. And
awesome.
Yeah, cool. and Boyce and also Jamie. They're all veterans. Next Wednesday, I'm talking about I'm talking to young Adam Burton from California, who is a young gun. We canvassed together in Iowa, and then and then he's a musician. His music I used in my documentary. Oh, by the way, I made a documentary called My Young Gun Diary.
It was so good.
Yeah, you saw it, right? Yeah. So I used 8 musicians' music in it. 2 and 3 of them, they are young gun. And now the film is doing pretty okay. I mean, won the best feature documentary in Rome International Film Festival, and went into 5 other film festivals. Got some, finalists of this and that, and then I have like actually distributors is in talking to me and calling me. Yeah, so which I really don't know.
I wish you a lot of luck with that. That is fantastic.
I don't know anything about that, so I'm a little nervous. But anyway, so, and also I want to let you know I'm going to talk to Matt, who has Matt Skidmore, who has a very handsome show on YouTube. I'm going to talk to him next Friday. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Matt's cool.
Yeah.
He's in, I think, Queens right now with Shane.
He is already?
Yeah. I think he's there. Yeah.
He arrived? Oh, I thought he was here like 2 weeks ago.
Maybe he went home then. I know he was there for a bit.
We met actually. He was here, and then Nell. Do you know Nell?
Mhm.
Nell is a graphic designer.
Mhm.
Nell took Matt, and Matt also brought two friends with him from where Matt is.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, yeah, and they did a whole day of New York City sort of a tourist thing, and then they called me, said, "We're coming to your end now. We'll see you in 1 hour." I said, "Yes, welcome." So I met them in the coffee shop. Yeah.
Oh,
I,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, Matt's
So,
really awesome. I've had a number of really great conversations with him. He had me on at the end of February. I was also on Trickle Up, and um, um, I'm blanking on what else I was on. I was on a whole Yang Gang Media tour, which was fun. Oh,
yeah.
and Nerds for Humanity.
Yeah. He's so
Yeah.
quick. I really think he's a very smart guy. So
Yeah.
smart, so quick, and
And
his
young.
show.
I didn't realize how young he
Is
is.
he like 26 or something?
I think he's like 21 or 2.
Are you
Like,
serious?
he's young.
Oh, he's just one of these genius, Mozart.
Yeah.
He's a
He
Mozart.
owns his own business too. It's great.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like he's sick, he's so successful.
Yeah.
All right. You have a question from Angelo.
Yeah. What is the biggest change I want to see happen in Worcester? I want to see Worcester be ready for the next changes that happen in society. We need to handle out the situation where we're going to be having to change how cities operate with automation coming, changes to how people drive with automated vehicles, all sorts of stuff like that. And it's the technology change that we're going to need to make to do all of the things that we need to do is sorry if you can hear Tara, I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, so technology usage needs to be improved. That's one of the biggest changes I want to see happen, because that opens up the ability to change so much more for so many more people.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's nice that we need young people like you. We need people understand technology and in this world, right?
Yeah.
And we need
this,
go
yeah,
ahead.
we had a city council meeting last night. They stream it to Facebook. Somehow they managed to start the stream, stop the stream after 3 minutes. So we got roll call for the meeting. And then I messaged one of my city councilor friends and was like, "Hey, the Facebook stream's down." It was back up for like 11 minutes and then went down again. And I'm just like, why is this so difficult for you to stream? It's one button and leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a lot of that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
let's
Could
make things open and accessible and stream
Yeah.
it to multiple platforms, not just Facebook. Let's get Streamlabs or Restream, and you hit a button and it's on all the platforms. It's only
Right.
$10 a month on Restream. No,
Right,
no, we're not gonna do this. Okay.
Right.
Okay, fine.
Right. Yeah. So people are still learning, and you'll
Yeah.
be surprised. I've done today. You are my 98 episode
Mhm.
guest. You'll be surprised. Actually, I run into probably from 98 episode. I normally run into 10 situation. People in the middle of the talk, their Wi-Fi just sort of died or
Mhm.
bad or whatever. So then we couldn't talk, because they get it like all snowy, and then they disappear for a while. Then they come back. It's a disaster.
That happens on our city council meetings all the time. One of our counselors last night dropped out of the call like 2 or 3 times because our internet here in Worcester is horrible. We've got Charter Spectrum.
I see.
And they don't upgrade the lines.
Yeah.
They've been horrible.
Yeah.
It's gone down. There was like I think it was 2 weeks ago or last week that the whole southern half of my district didn't have internet for a day.
Yeah. God.
Like, when people are doing school and work from home, how is that supposed to make any sense? Like, they need to improve the infrastructure. So we're looking at actually building municipal broadband. I really look forward to that.
Yeah. That's great. So, all right, we're almost at the end of our
Yeah.
talk. Should we do our rapid fire? Do you have
Sure.
anything
Yeah.
else? Did I miss? Or you anything else you want to mention? Any important thing we haven't talked about? We're good.
If you have anything that you want to do learning about campaigns, I am happy to talk to people who want to be candidates. 1 second, I'm going to mute myself and kick Tara out of the room.
Kick the baby out of here.
She's just like whining, moving
Oh,
her
I see.
It's just piercing.
She just want attention. Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that I've learned as part of starting to run for office and running for office that I am happy to share with other people. So if anyone's considering running for office, please let me know, contact me. I'm happy to chat. And also, no matter where you are in the country or world, I am happy to have you as a volunteer. I am happy to train you in different parts of campaigns so you can learn how different parts of campaigns operate. I am happy to sign whatever paperwork you need me to if you want to have it labeled as an internship. I want to help people, and I could also use your help. So please consider volunteering for my campaign, because right now I've got a very small, scrappy team, and any time that you can give will really make a difference, especially phone banking. Please phone bank for me.
Got it. And also, Yenni's biography is underneath in the description, including her website information, which you see scrolling around. And then also she has a Facebook, and she also has Twitter information, so you can reach her on any of these platforms, right?
Yep. And if you look at the pinned post on Twitter or Facebook, that's where all of the volunteering opportunities are for the week.
Yeah. So tell us, I know you're a techie person. What kind of a social media platform do you use most?
I have been on Facebook for a long time. I started using Facebook before, like, when you needed to have a college email address to be able to get a account on it. So I've been on Facebook for a very long time.
You're
So I'm very
OG.
used to that platform.
OG.
I've been on it since 2005.
Wow, that's really early.
Yeah. So like I go back and I look at like the early photos of me, and I've got me in this like anti-Crombie shirt with like an anarchy symbol eating an Oreo. Like it's just like I was such a weird teenager.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. But and then Twitter I used when I was in the game development world a lot. So I understood the platform and how to connect with people, but I didn't understand how to do a local interaction with people on Twitter. I never really grasped that until I started really getting involved with starting to run my campaign and getting involved with local government, doing stuff with the dog parks and other city related stuff. I never used it for my pet care business. I didn't know how to tap into those markets, but it's an odd platform. I'm still learning it. And then Instagram, I have an account. I had an account for my business. Mm-hmm. I never really understood the platform. And now I'm also using TikTok as a browser. I have spent many an hour just swiping on TikTok.
I only have one video on TikTok. But so, you know what? It's very confusing for me because I'm using a lot of Facebook. And then until very recent, when I talk about my film, and then I started to do a lot of Twitter, and I got a lot of audience. I from like 500, now I have 1,000 followers on Twitter. is
The
all
Yang Gang
mostly,
likes to swarm follows.
yeah, mostly because Yangan, because my film information.
Mhm.
Now, because I play Clubhouse. So
Mhm.
Clubhouse, you need to have a Instagram. It links to Instagram and
Mm.
Twitter, but people use more Instagram. So I developed my Instagram more just for the last 5 weeks, and because I didn't really understand
Mhm.
how to do it. I'm learning. I'm learning. Yeah. So it's interesting. So anyway, let's do our rapid fire,
Well, I
shall
see
we?
a, I see a question there from
Oh,
Nick. What
question.
anime would I recommend to a newbie?
Oh,
My go-to is go watch some Ghibli movies. Ghibli is a great starter for anime and movies. So they've got like um, Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, and um, the other ones. Wow, everything just flew out of my head in terms of names. They've got The Cat Returns. Um, Princess Mononoke is my literal favorite, hands down. Like that one's just amazing. If you have one Ghibli movie that you're going to check out, look up Princess Mononoke. It's so good. So good.
oh, John has a question earlier. I didn't see it. For
Mm?
the broadband, any idea of speed go 1 gigabyte or 5 gigabyte?
Ah, so the municipal broadband right now, I think the goal is to get gigabit speeds, but it's still in like super duper early days. Oh yeah, Kiki's delivery service is fantastic. I freaking love Kiki. She's a little witch girl, and it's awesome. It's awesome. That's a great one to check out too.
Oh, that's fun. Did we answer all the questions? Let's see. For
Yeah, I
me,
think
I
so.
have Clubhouse paired with Twitter. Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
John Phil. Hi, John. How are you? Yeah, so you can but I think a lot of time people I know on Clubhouse, they're like filmmakers or photographers. I think it seems like people really like go into their Instagram. It's so easy, just click one thing and then you can see their profile on
Mm.
Instagram, and you a lot of time I follow people sometimes based on their Instagram. When I like their Instagram, very artistic, then I
Mhm.
follow them on Clubhouse. So
Oh,
it's that
cool.
way. Yeah, but at the beginning, I follow everybody. Now I have. I have 900. I'll show you now. 970, I believe. Uh, Oh, you cannot see. Sorry.
Yeah, the screen's all blown out.
I have 978 followers.
Awesome.
Ta-da! So anyway,
Woo!
yeah, I spend way too much time, but I learn a lot. But anyway, so okay, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and we're gonna do rapid fire. Okay, rapid
Yeah.
fire is like just a fun game, word game. Like I ask one question, and Yanni answers in short
Mhm.
as possible. Yeah. All right. And ready.
Yes.
Favorite color.
Yellow.
Favorite food genre.
Uh, really like Asian food. I I I'm really really keen on doing more Korean cooking. I do a lot of Japanese meals. And me and my husband make a mean bao. Like, oh, it is good. We just finally like got the recipe down, and it is really good. He's really gotten good with the pleating. I make a mess of it still.
Great, great. So, your favorite cocktail.
It's called a Northern Lights. It's a sex on the beach, but with whiskey instead of vodka. I don't like vodka. If I had a drink of choice, and it would be Scotch. For not mixed drinks, it would be Scotch, single malt.
Well, plug in talking about drinks. I am sober of red wine. I
Oh,
have been
I have
sober.
coffee.
Really?
That's my
Yeah. Today,
non-soberness is caffeine.
I think today is like 74 days. I have
Oh, wow.
not drink, so I'm good, huh? I'm very
Yeah,
disciplined. I feel
I
very
haven't had
disciplined.
alcohol. I don't think I've had alcohol in over a year now.
Oh yeah.
I don't drink much. It gives me migraines, unfortunately.
Oh, I see. Okay, so if I know you've born in New York and
Mhm.
now live in Massachusetts. Now, if you had a choice, if money not an issue, if politics is not an issue, which city would you like to live?
Ooh. In the country or in the world?
In the world, the entire world.
Kyoto. I'd move to Kyoto.
Wow,
I have a
you're
couple
so
of friends who've moved to Japan, and I it's hard. It's hard being an expat in Japan. The whole gaijin issue of being a foreigner, it's difficult, but the culture that exists in Kyoto, it's beyond anything I've experienced elsewhere. I If I had one place to go to move to, I would pick Kyoto.
wonderful, wonderful. All right, so I have another hypothetical question. Hypothetically,
Mhm.
tomorrow you win a lottery of $20 million. What are you gonna do?
Dog rescue. I'd build a dog sanctuary.
Wow, so sweet.
That's my eventual goal. A nice house with a lot of land that I can build a dog rescue.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. So now I don't know about you. I have some favorite like a snack when I'm on the internet a lot. What is your favorite snack?
Um, I roll through a few. Like I have a giant box of the extra cheddar goldfish that I finished over there. Um, I have a tendency to just eat Nutella.
Oh, really? Like by itself?
I have crackers over here that I just will randomly reach over and spread some Nutella on a.
Well, that's good. That's nuts in there, right? That's it's not just the sweet, right? It has a
Oh,
nut.
it's pretty much just sugar. It's pretty much just sugar. It's 2,000 calories per 2 tablespoons. It
Oh
is
my
not
god.
a low calorie
Oh
snack.
my god.
But popcorn,
Yeah,
Cheez-It, and anything chocolate.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Kit Kats, Cadbury mini eggs do not last in this house. My
Yeah,
husband has to ration them for me.
yeah,
He
yeah.
he'll give me like a little bit in a cup, and he keeps the bag hidden
Yeah,
because
yeah,
otherwise I'll just eat the entire bag in a week.
yeah.
Even those like that giant mini egg bags that have the Ziploc top, I go through them in a week.
That's funny. So who cooks in your house?
My husband.
Oh, you're so lucky. Lucky,
Yeah,
lucky.
his parents are caterers, former caterers, and they make such amazing food. We go there every Sunday for dinner, and he learned how to cook from them and does an amazing job. So it was a big boon for me because I love baking. I hate cooking. Just standing in front of the stove with my physical disabilities makes it very difficult. So I would always have to cook like quick, easy things, and that's not the best cuisine always. It's usually the like junkier stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, when you say, sorry, this is not rapid fire anymore.
mhm.
When you say your disability, is this temporary or you always had that?
I will always have it. It's a
Oh,
genetic disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, shorthand EDS.
oh,
And it is a connective tissue disorder. So the things that hold the joints and muscles in place are really loose.
Like
So,
right now your hand, tell them.
yeah, so like I have these on my hands, which basically help me to prevent hyperextension of my fingers. So with the thing on, oh, flying everywhere, my thumb only goes straight.
Yeah.
Without it, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can touch my pointer finger to my arm. I can bring my thumb almost back parallel
Oh my
with
God.
my
Yeah.
arm. I,
You can
at
do a
33
split.
years old, can still stick both feet behind my head at the same time. I'm not going to demonstrate that one.
Yeah.
But so basically, I'm very double jointed, but that also means that I dislocate very easily. So I'm in physical therapy because my right shoulder dislocated. And since that dislocation last year, it has come partially or fully out of its socket at least 10 times over the course of the past year, while it's been healing and pulling itself back together. It's getting better finally, thankfully.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But
Wow.
there are some days where my hip will go out and I can't walk. I've got a walker. It's actually my grandfather's walker. And I've got canes for multiple rooms, and
Yeah.
I've got slings, and we 3D printed these, and we're looking for all sorts of other things.
Oh
So
my
like
God.
my finger, when I'm like just resting my hand, my
Yeah.
pinky finger will go up like this, and that'll
Oh.
strain the joint here. So I'm looking for something that'll help me keep the finger down.
Oh gosh.
So it's a lot of looking for assistive devices.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of physical and
Mhm.
also probably very draining also, huh? Like mentally, right? You have to always watch yourself and feel yourself. Have to be conscious all the time, right? Because a
Yeah,
lot
and
of
I
times,
finally found doctors that understand that I can understand my body.
yeah.
For years, I was being told, "Oh, well, you're not really that hurt. It can't hurt that much." I know what I'm feeling. I can
Yeah.
tell my chiropractor exactly what bone or rib or
Yeah.
finger is dislocated.
Oh my
I can
God.
tell exactly which one needs to be readjusted.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I finally have doctors that are listening to me, which is nice.
Well, that's good. Did you ever look for a DO, Doctor of Osteopathic? Did you ever look for? Okay.
No, I don't know
Yeah.
that one.
Okay. Yeah. Osteopathic doctor who
Oh,
are
yeah.
into
I haven't been to one yet. It's on the list of
pain
get to
management.
after the pandemic.
Yeah. They're into pain management and yeah. Okay, so let's see. So I think John has a question. Let's answer that, and then we're going to
Okay.
close our door. Close our.
So I see a best professor at Champlain College. I had a lot of really awesome professors. The game program there hires people that have worked in the game industry. And I think my favorite, I don't know if I would say best because they were all really great, but my favorite was Mr. Ferguson, because he was just absolutely ridiculous and hilarious and amazingly fun to be around. And he taught game design classes and was my was the teacher that was attached to the game lab when I was doing the quality assurance testing. I would run the tests for the senior team projects and managed like 100 plus freshmen and sophomores as they tested the games. And he was the faculty advisor for that group. So we spent a fair chunk of time together. We actually just found each other on Signal, like randomly. I'm like, your friend is on Signal. I'm like, hi, Mr. It was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I also see a will your degree help you in the city council if you win? So I had an education that took me through art, design, and producing. In the art side of things, I learned how to take constructive criticism and adapt and learn from that criticism and improve. It's a process that should be taught in schools to everyone. Being able to take criticism well and turn it into a critique, a actionable critique, is a skill that our schools don't teach well enough. And my college really reinforced that with me through the art program, because every single project we would be critiqued by our fellow classmates. So we had to learn how to take that really well. And as a politician, I am going to get no end of opinions from everyone. And I need to know how to adapt and learn from and engage with people in that way. Game design helped me in figuring out how to build a narrative, how to explore different spaces. One of the projects I did, we had a theme that was based on a Northwestern native tribe. And so I did a dive into that culture and learning about it. And through that, I've also had a extreme love affair with research. So I love learning new things and learning about and implementing things related to that learning. So the design side helps with that. And then the project management side, I know how to run a project on budget. I can get things back on track. Being able to manage teams of 50 plus people at some of the groups that I was running things on. One of the companies I was at, I was project manager for 50 projects at the same time. So being able to multitask and follow up on all sorts of different threads, that's been really key in learning how to do things with politics, because I'm going to have a lot of different balls in the air and I need to be able to juggle them all.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. All right. So I think we covered a lot. And thank you so much, Yenni, for being with me today and talk to our audience and talk to me. And this video will be viral probably very soon, like within half hour. And people can check us out even if they're not here. Yeah. And let's keep in touch, Yenni. And I want you to, have less pain in your body and also very successful campaign. And maybe, in few months, let's check each other up, and then we could do another talk, and to see
that sounds like great
how things going. Okay, great.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
And folks who are watching, please check out my volunteer opportunities, check out my website. I would love to engage with everyone. So
yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing that. And otherwise, subscribe. And then so I'll see you another time, and maybe every Wednesday check us out. Okay. All right. Bye now. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.